Thanks for watching. Today we're taking a look at the RC4WD C2X, which is a Class 2 competition truck. Thanks for watching. Today we're taking a look at the RC4WD C2X, which is a Class 2 competition truck with a Mojave 2 4-door body. You can see that standing over here. I didn't make that up myself. Really nice looking box art. Also features a ton of features, so there's a ton of new stuff going on. A lot of people, when pictures emerged of this thing, a lot of people went like, yeah, but this looks like something that I could have built. Perhaps it does, but perhaps it doesn't. So there's a ton of new stuff actually here. This is developed from the ground up to be a really nice performing Class 2 truck. It seems like no matter what companies do these days, they simply cannot get it right in the eye of the consumer. No different with this RC4WD C2X. So this came out, and all of the critics come out of the woodworks. And I'm thinking that these might actually be the same people who back in the day asked, when I had a 1202, if RC4WD would be able to deliver it with some more competitive features, like for example some axles that actually work a tiny bit better, like not the pot metal axles that you would find on your 1202, but some D44 axles. For example, some better drive shafts, for example, some coilover suspension, for example, some 1.9 tires, a full interior, you name it. I think that they managed to squeeze all of that in one package, so that's what you see over here. Again, this is not like a completely done truck. I think this is a great starting point to kind of start from if you plan to build something that performs great in Class 2, or if you want to have a trail truck that just looks super badass, because I do think that it looks great. Now, enough about what I think and what other people think. Love it or hate it, it is a striking looking truck. I think it looks like something that if you would have a 1202 back in the day and you would outfit it to be a performance truck, it would actually end up looking like this. On the back it also lists some of the options, like for example winches, rock jacks, diff covers, all that stuff. You know what RC4WD is known for. Some amazing accessories and also some great looking trucks. Now let's look at all of the boring shit first. There's a lot of boring shit because this is a very complete truck actually. This is a very complete, ready to run. So it also comes with, for example, this trickle charger. I haven't opened it because initially I threw it away, but I'm like, you know, I do need to show it to you guys. So let's see what it actually looks like. Now this is a US plug thing. I don't have plugs like this in my home, but it also comes with a converter plug. If you are completely new to the hobby or you have no access to a higher quality charger at the moment, this is of course great that it is included. A Tamiya plug on that end. That means that there's also a Tamiya plug on the battery. I will make sure that it's here so you can actually see a close-up of it as well before I throw it away. It goes with a nickel metal hydride battery. A lot of people apparently are still into nickel metal hydride. I, for one, am not one of them, so I will be converting my truck to a LiPo. Again, it has that Tamiya plug, like it is 1999, but it is cool to see it included. 3000 milliamps, so you are guaranteed to get some good run times out of these nickel metal hydride batteries. It comes with 4 AA batteries. Those you put in the radio. Let's talk about the radio a tiny bit later. It comes with a manual. So as per RC4WD, a clear manual with clear descriptions. And there's also battery straps and stuff in here. If you are new to the hobby and you pick one of these up, you will have an amazing starting point to actually start working from and have like a customized trail truck that performs great out of the box. But if you're new to the hobby, go read that manual just to make sure that you don't injure yourself or do other dumb stuff, or like I don't know what dumb stuff people do these days, but I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of warnings in here. Don't lick stuff and don't hide it in body cavities, and well, you know what it's about, right? There's also some stickers here that you can put on the mirrors, and there are a few thinner strips here that you can actually put into the S&M cave that is in the interior. We will address that a tiny bit later. 2.4 gigahertz collapsible antenna. It feels pretty nice. My hands are a tiny bit larger, but even for my larger hands, this is a pretty good feeling radio with a foam wheel. It looks well finished. It takes 4 AA batteries. Has an RC4WD drive logo over here in the bottom, and then in the top you see your endpoint adjustment and all of your trim switches. Pretty sure that it has some LEDs that will light up the minute you turn it on. And then over here it has a 3-position switch. Now let's put this to the side as well. Let's look at what is actually, I think, the main thing to look at. Now this is a hard body, which means that you would paint it on the outside, unlike most of the bodies that you see me paint on my channel. If you are familiar with hard bodies, then this should have no surprises for you. Now this is gray through and through, which means that in its current finish, if you would scrape it up, you don't see anything weird coming through. My original Trailfinder 2 came with a banana yellow body, which was so incredibly ugly to look at that it just needed to have a coat of primer and a coat of paint. Not just based on the color and that I didn't want to have like a minion truck, but also because the plastic looked extremely brittle and extremely cheap when I got the truck. This actually looks amazing. So there's a really high gloss going on, and unless you have a ton of patience to actually do a buff job on a clear coat, or unless you have like a professional paint booth, it will be really incredibly hard to replicate this type of finish on a hard body. So what I'm thinking that I'm actually going to do, and I didn't think that I would ever say this, is that I'm going to keep it this color and dress it up with some stickers. That's like the first time in a very long time, or perhaps even ever, that I'm going to use stickers on a body to just keep it looking that way. But that's how good this body looks. The interior as well is very nicely finished. There's a lot of detail there. There's a full instrument cluster. The only thing that I don't really like is how shiny those benches are. So it actually looks like they're covered with plastic, or like they're latex. So that will get a tiny bit of a dull coat finish before I'm actually going to take this out on the trails and see what it can do. The front actually features the Marlin grille, so there's different headlights, different grille. There's also a bit of detail behind that grille where you can see a radiator. I think all in all it looks really cool. I like these rubbery mirrors. I like the door handles. Everything is already pre-installed. It looks great. This is a section that a lot of people had problems with, it seems. Now I think once you put the body on there that it actually looks really good. If you do want to have a roll bar on here or like a lot more detailed, you're at full liberty to go ahead and add whatever you want. I can imagine that you want to braze something up or weld something up, or perhaps you want to take this off completely and add a fully caged bed. But again, you know, this is more like a starting point where you start to work from to build a truck that is completely to your liking, rather than it being like taken out of the box and it completely blowing your mind immediately and being the truck of your very dreams, because I don't think you will find that anywhere, to be honest. This whole bed, it's Delrin, it's machined, it's put together very well actually, so it feels exceptionally strong. If you do have rollover or whatnot, nothing is going to break on here. Another part that is Delrin is the skid plate. I just want to address this stuff first so you actually know what's what material wise. Now Delrin is a very slippery, super hard plastic, but it also has a lot of structural strength actually. So I used a Delrin sheet in a 1/4 inch to build my Yeti XXL. I'm not sure if you remember that, but that's what you can actually do with Delrin. So seeing that that's added, it's also an expensive material, is I think pretty cool. Then the D44 axles, these narrow axles, these are plastic. Now the front does come with the universals pre-installed. And I think what is really important to note is that there is literally no slop whatsoever. Stainless pivot balls everywhere. The only other thing that is plastic is actually the rod ends. At first glance you might think that the links are plastic, but the 4-link suspension in the back and the 3-link suspension in the front, it is actually, all of it is aluminum, which is then anodized. 3-link in the front means that there's also a panhard, and in that panhard I thought initially that mount was plastic, because I was like, they must have used some plastic, but that as well is a machined aluminum. The only plastic that you will actually find on the sprung part of the chassis, apart from the Delrin skid plate, are these body mounts that lead up to those brand new frame rails. So yeah, apart from that, everything is machined aluminum that is anodized black. So also the shock hoops, the motor mount, all of that stuff. This motor mount, it sits of course in a great position for you to have a full interior. But I do believe it is also, Matthew told me this from Scale Builders Guild, you can clock this so you can actually make it sit a tiny bit lower, make it perform a bit better by sort of like lowering that center of gravity. It has an exposed pinion and a spur, but with that as well, you will be able to see immediately if something is wrong and address it, or put a new pinion on if you want to play around with that a tiny bit. Brushed motor comes pre-installed, 35 turn, has a chassis mounted servo. I'm not sure what the specs of this servo are actually, because I haven't been able to figure that out based on the information on the box, but perhaps that's actually in the manual, so I will go browse through it just to see what's what. Chassis mounted servo, of course, seems to be the standard these days in making a truck that is actually pretty performant. All of this stuff, all these transmission housings and also the transfer case are metal. I think they look great. Also, something that is noteworthy is that compared to the Trailfinder 2, these drive shafts are actually upgraded. So these come with metal yokes. I also hope that the quality of the plastics is a tiny bit better, because my old Trailfinder 2, I remember building it and the biggest deception ever was that those drive shafts just collapsed in on themselves immediately. If you wonder why it is so springy, that is actually because there is no oil in the shocks yet due to shipping regulations. So what they recommend is adding some 30 weight oil. That's also what I will be doing. These are aluminum bodied shocks with aluminum adjustment rings and aluminum caps. RRD licensed. I think they look amazing. I also think that they will perform great once I have added the oil. This ESC, I believe it is water resistant. There is a little tab here, a little plug that you need to pull out and actually relocate for it to be able to take lipos. Mickey Thompson tires, Baja MTZs, if I'm correct. Yes. Very sticky rubber compound, 1.9 tires mounted to 1.9 steel stamped beadlock wheels. Front bumper is plastic. I think that's not a big deal. If you want to change this out, it's of course super easy. The bumper mount is aluminum and the rear bumper is also aluminum. I believe that covers all the bases. I will be stickering this thing up for the first time in my life, and I will be taking this out in the forest just to see what it can do. I have no doubt whatsoever that this will be a truck that performs amazingly, just based on all the research that they've done, based on the fact that it is designed from the ground up, and based on the fact that they basically advertise it as a Class 2 competition truck in which it should be a total killer. Now, if you think, Chris, you have missed a ton of features, please let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions as well that I might be able to answer, let me know in the comment section. If you want to have more information about the RC4WD C2X, go have a look in the video description. I will make sure there's links to everything over there to the RC4WD website. I also highly recommend browsing their website just for the sake of being able to have an idea of what they make when it comes to scale accessories, winches, bumpers, wheels, tires, all that stuff, because they do make a ton of stuff, and there's a lot of new stuff being added to their web store regularly. Well, that's that. If you have not subscribed yet, please do. It is free. If you are subscribed, make sure that you hit the bell so you actually see me appear in your feed of new videos. It seems like I'm getting a tiny bit snowed under, which is of course to be expected, but YouTube has like a whole new algorithm going on where it becomes more and more difficult to find videos like this. So hit the notifications bell, that way you can always be up to speed with whenever I release a video, which I very much appreciate if you do. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.
Back on.